All right, friends, we have 5 quick tips to help you stay connected this week during Christmas.
Yes. So number 1 is less presents, more presents. This is simply to remind you that you need to enjoy being where you are and not being somewhere else in your mind.
So for those who are just listening and not watching, we are spelling this out. So more presents, E-N-C-E, less presents, E-N-T-S.
Yes. I mean, it's my tendency just because I'm always focused on doing something. It seems like, I'm like the dreamer. New Year's is coming. And for me, being that kind of person, I'm kind of like dreaming about, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to achieve this year? And I'm kind of in that mode. And it's easy for me to forget to be where I am, like to enjoy the smell of fresh cookies in the oven, to enjoy being with the kids, to enjoy the brisk morning walks in, the Christmas time, the Christmas season, to enjoy looking at the Christmas lights and not just drive super fast through my neighborhood because I got to get home because I left something on. Be where you are and enjoy where you are right now.
Yeah. And I think like my tendency, whereas you're future oriented, I'm very tasky.
Yeah.
And so, if there are things to be done, whether it's like for the business or even just Christmas things that need to be done, I'll focus more on the task list and that will make me not be present.
Yes.
And so for whether you're more like me or you're more like Adam, like really focus on just being present. Focus on your 5 senses. What are you hearing right now? The sound of the children, the sound of the music. Like Adam said, smelling the fresh cookies coming out of the oven. Really just focus on being present with your spouse and connecting with them, with your family, and focus less on, the list of presents that need to get wrapped.
Pro tip. If you want to change this about you, if you find yourself constantly somewhere else, I would challenge you, instead of getting mad at yourself that you caught yourself, being somewhere else, kind of congratulate yourself. Like, yes, I did it. And that actually will help retrain you. Instead of being 100 miles away, you can actually be here. And every single time you find yourself, I'm thinking about other stuff again, and you bring yourself back, that's actually you retraining your neurons to think in this direction, not that direction.
More about habit forming coming in a couple of weeks.
There you go. So the next one is acknowledge the contributions. Tell us about that one.
So like all the little things that your spouse does this week, acknowledge it and show gratitude for it. It can be really easy to just take it for granted when it's the stuff they usually do. Like say, it's usually your husband that puts up the Christmas lights, or it's usually your wife that's putting all the pretty little bows on the labels on the Christmas presents. You could just kind of like brush by or even complain about it. Or you can acknowledge it and be like, thank you for being into the details, babe.
It's funny. Sometimes we think that only the extraordinary actions of our spouse deserve merit or credit.
That's true.
But we could focus on simply giving recognition to where recognition's due. Like, it's amazing that you always are consistent at paying the bills. I don't do that sort of thing very well. I would probably miss stuff all the time and we'd be on the streets.
We're both very much in the finances and on the same page, but yes, when it comes to actually going down the list,
spreadsheets and stuff. Yeah. So, but that's a strength of Chris's. So actually, we talked about it recently, and she let me know. I thought I did a really great job, but my really greatness was in one domain. It was like, complimenting and telling how beautiful she looks and stuff like that.
You're good at physical touch, which is a love language for both of us.
Right. But what I was lacking at was acknowledging where Krista comes through in the day-to-day stuff. And she actually does, thank me for doing small stuff around the house. Like, babe, thanks for taking out the trash. Yeah, sure, babe. And it really does actually feel good to be thanked for that. But I wasn't reciprocating as often. I did, but not as often as she would like.
And I noticed when he actually changed that. So you're seeing some tips on some things we're actually working on too.
Yeah. But recognizing the small things, the menial day-to-day routine stuff, like, thank you for going to work today. You know, you worked 8 hours. That's a long day.
Yeah, leading up to the holiday especially. And
that's
thank
crazy.
you for juggling that. And, you know, picking this up on the way home.
This one thing will really make a difference in a marriage that especially feels kind of dry from all the tasks being done. It's like fuel for the soul. It's so good. So,
all right, number 3, steal quick kisses and touches.
You don't really need to steal them because you could do it without a label like stealing.
Yes, and we're actually good at this one. But it's just, you know, take advantage of those moments, especially during the holidays. You know, if you're at one of your family's house or gathering, and it, you know, the tendency can be for the person who's the in-law to kind of not feel at home. Even if you have loving families, it makes such a difference for your spouse just to lean in and, you know, steal a quick kiss or grab you when you're walking into the guest bedroom to put your suitcases down, and they just pull you in and say, I love you so much.
It really does help put that person to ease and to ground them and to kind of help them with belonging, both sides, both ways.
Yeah.
But I think it really is a time, it's a time of connection, right?
It is.
But it's also a time of craziness and a lot of expectations. So in all of that, it's wonderful to get a hug or to be the recipient of a touch or that love being sent, just because it says, like, I'm not forgetting you through all of this, and with all of my family around me, I'm not forgetting you, and you still are and always will be the most important thing in my life. Sometimes people feel forgotten during the holidays.
Well, and I think especially if you have close families, right?
Yeah.
Like, we both have close families, and our families are both very loving and accepting of the in-law. But I think because we have close families, we're both the oldest of 5 children. And so when we get with our siblings, it's like fun chaos and nostalgia, and we're connecting and we're laughing, and there can be that, like, risk of, you know, our spouse feeling like, oh, like, that's great, they're having fun with them, but I hope they're still connecting with me. And I think we've both done a really good job of making sure the other one feels that love and connection.
Right. And I think too, like, the spouse watches their spouse open up and turn on, maybe see a different side of them, and like, wait, wow, why don't I get this? I only got the angry spouse on the way there. And now all of a sudden you have this cheerful, you're at home and loving all this stuff. What about me?
Right.
And they can start feeling very alone. So connect your spouse.
Yes. And number 4, take advantage of the drive time to check in. So that could be, you know, if you're doing a long trip to a family that's like out of town, or it could just be like, maybe you both have family in town and you're driving from one family's house to the other, Christmas Eve to Christmas, or however many families you do in one day. But check in with the other person and, hey, how are things going? One question we like to ask on the check-in is, how can I be helpful to you right now? Or how can I be helpful to you when we get there today? And it could be something simple like, oh, when we're unloading, can you make sure to put the jackets on the kids? Or I really want that bow that, you know, Aunt so-and-so made for them on them when we get out of the car, you know, whatever it is, like, just check in and how can I be helpful to you?
This is something that we really work on, because it's really easy for us to pick up our phone and start working, getting on Instagram or YouTube, and start doing stuff and kind of get out of the moment.
Right.
And the car is a really fantastic time just to kind of touch base and say, you know, where are you? What's going on? How can I be helpful? Just because you're going into another setting, and it feels like these seasons are just, you know, constantly moving and shifting and going. So to ground yourself again, take a moment and kind of plan for whatever's coming next.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
And that could be in the realm of pragmatics, or it could be in the realm of just like emotions, you know, like, oh, I could just use a deep breath when we park, and let's not get out right away. You know, I just need to breathe and just kiss you, you know, in front of the kids.
Yeah.
It's good.
You don't have to be frantic.
Yes.
You don't.
Yes.
So, and number 5, very important. Don't let expectations ruin your Christmas.
Yes.
And of course, maybe your Christmas won't be ruined, but you can actually have a much more fulfilling, memorable Christmas if you could just step back a little bit from your expectations.
Totally.
So I think what everybody has is this like snow globe-esque idea of what your Christmas ought to be. You know, like everybody's sitting around, like Norman Rockwell painting, you know, like everybody's sitting around and smiles on their faces, but you forget that like 1-year-old who's like screaming.
Totally.
You know, like there's a story there.
Oh yeah. Thanksgiving, you know, we woke Forrest up from his nap and we have this beautiful Thanksgiving meal that Adam's sister and her partner totally prepared. Beautiful, beautiful meal. And then, you know, here comes Forrest waking up from his nap, just screaming his head off, woke up on the wrong side of the crib.
It was supposed to be a peaceful.
Yeah.
And I remember Chris had saying kind of something along those lines of like, this was supposed to be peaceful, and Forrest is ruining it. It's really hard sometimes to let go of Christmas has to look this way.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, little kids don't always follow what you had in your mind.
Right. And not just little kids. It could be anything. It could be like,
or your uncle or your aunt.
Your
or
in-laws arrived late.
Your dad.
Your random brother-in-law making, you know, comments that are frustrating you or whatever. I mean, like, but don't let that ruin your day. Like,
see, you should be strategizing on the number 4, right? Strategizing on how you guys could support each other if your brother-in-law makes that's whatever it is. So
no slight to our brother-in-laws.
Yeah. But so just remember, guys, manage your expectations. I think it was kind of going philosophy here. Epictetus or Epictetus, however you want to say his name, talked about and made an impact on my life. He said that know the nature of things, understand the nature of things. It's the nature of the freeway, Highway 99, at 7 o'clock from Elk Grove Boulevard to Sacramento to be very busy on weekdays. That's the nature. So when you get on the freeway at that time, don't be shocked or mad or angry that there's traffic.
Yeah.
That's the nature of that. So know the nature of Christmas with, 50 different moving parts that somebody might burn something.
Or like the nature of Trader Joe's at Christmas time today is that there's going to be a 30-minute line outside.
So don't get frustrated.
Yeah.
Go to Nugget instead.
The nature of Christmas morning with stockings when you have 3-year-olds.
Yes. Tell us about that.
Like last weekend, we did a Christmas with my immediate family, and Adeline and Everly, her cousin, our daughter and her cousin, both got these adorable little Polly Pockets in their stocking. And so my sister and I are down there like having this potentially sweet moment where, you open the Polly Pockets and you're like, look, it's a Polly Pocket. And, Karina's over there with Everly and she's like, look, it's a spaceship. And then she can go in the spaceship.
So sweet.
And I'm like trying to have this sweet moment with Adeline too. And
so your expectations, it's going to be sweet.
Right. Like that snow globe-esque moment. And here's Adeline squeezing my fingers shut into the Polly Pocket going, no, Mommy, I don't want you to touch my Polly Pocket. And I'm like, Adeline, you are hurting Mommy. And so I'm like totally getting my expectations dashed, and I had a hard moment. But I think what helped me a lot was verbalizing that. So like, I took a moment, went into the kitchen and like grabbed some things, and there were some family members in the kitchen, and I looked at them and I'm like, she was literally squeezing my fingers shut. And so like just to be able to like laugh about it with them, and I got over it. Like I was able to process it and laugh about it, and then had a good day, a good Christmas. Yeah. So I think that's a good tip. When something doesn't go well, say it out loud, make light of it, and then move forward and enjoy the day.
Yeah, I think it's just acknowledging that, being quicker to manage your expectations and shrug your shoulders. You can't control everything. You're not God. Stuff is going to happen. So just roll with it.
Yes.
Roll with it.
So stay connected this week, you guys. It's Christmas time. The potential could be for you guys to just have get into the hubbub and have stressful, frantic moments. But we are encouraging you. Follow these 5 steps. Stay connected. Stay at peace. and be intentional about your time together.
Yeah, connect. Really, really be mindful about connecting with your family and with your God and your wife.
And your
So,
husband.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
Love you
We
guys.
love you.